In this video, we're gonna be talking about some of the latest news when it comes to the NFT market, as well as some upcoming huge updates for our favorite projects. First thing we are going to be talking about is what's going on with the sentiment of the NFT market. And as we've seen before, the volume for NFTs has significantly dropped since January. And just like a couple days ago, we saw this little pump after the Ape coin dropped by Yuga Labs, and then everyone was like, oh my God, the bull market is back. And then it turns out that it was just a false pump, and then now it's going back down. NFTs, in general, basically it's not as popular as it was before. The bubble kind of bursted in a sense, and we're seeing who the real builders are, but that doesn't mean that there's not opportunities for you to, buy certain projects and hold it for the long term, because there's always money to make somewhere. You just have to change your strategy depending on how the market goes. And now if we look at what's going on in the cryptocurrency markets, we've seen that Bitcoin and Ethereum have been increasing in price, and usually when that happens, a lot of the other alternative coins also increase, and we've seen that going up quite a bit. So things are a little bit more bullish on like the Ethereum altcoin side, and typically, how the cycle happened doesn't mean it's gonna guarantee it's gonna happen again, but then, once Bitcoin and Ethereum pumps to a certain price, people take their profits and then they roll it into NFTs. So hopefully, as Ethereum, it's pretty much at like 3,000 right now, people might want to take profits, right? Because just the other week or like a couple weeks ago, it was literally like 2K, 2.1K, 2.2K. So a lot of people are up like, 20, 30%. So hopefully the interest comes back. A lot of people are building in the space, and we're going to be talking about some upcoming projects that hopefully will kind of revive the narrative when it comes to NFTs. The first one we're going to be talking about is going to be NanoPass. And as you know, we've been talking about this. They have a project called Project PXN, which is another avatar project related in their universe, as well as phase 2 of the Nanoverse. So NanoRay over here came out with some news on Discord where people who are going to be able to purchase PXN, they have to be NanoPass holders. When you hold a NanoPass, basically every once in a while they give you a mystery box, and then hopefully in that mystery box you can get these shards. So with these shards, you have to collect enough of them so that you can mint Project PXN. So in this way, it's like you can actually use the utility from your NanoPass and then use it for another NFT and basically buy an NFT. And if you, let's say, don't want to get the NFT and you just want to sell your shards to another person, well, they actually built an entire marketplace for that. So this is just a screenshot. I don't think it's live yet. Maybe it's coming out later today, or by the time you see this, there's going to be the owner's portal when it comes to the Nanoverse HQ. You're going to be able to get the PXN whitelist. So these are going to be things for sale. And again, like if you hold the NanoPass, the Genesis piece, you actually have significant advantages. There's only 5,500 units, I believe. So if you believe in the Nanoverse ecosystem, if you believe in Ray and their team of like, it's like 100 people at this point, then I would actually recommend finding an entry price into the NanoPass, because that's going to be the most valuable thing in their ecosystem. And they publicly have stated this, where the NanoPass will be the most valuable, and they will continue to provide value to the pass as much as possible. And another really interesting thing that I kind of took notice of is when you go on the Project PXN website, which is phantom.sh, you can go find their Twitter and then get the official one. They have this concept called phantoms, right? And essentially there's going to be 100 different phantoms. And I'm not sure if they're making like one of one for each person. Phantoms are basically like 100 people that are kind of like the community advocates for Project PXN and the Nanoverse ecosystem, right? And there's supposedly only going to be 100 of them, and I'm sure that they might make like different tiers of different people and call them different things. But essentially what they're doing is that they are kind of using like grassroots marketing in that, because there are people that really believe in the Nanoverse ecosystem, why not reward them with some kind of status, some kind of NFT, give them some kind of benefit. Social status is a huge benefit actually in the NFT space, and then make it official, right? And so those people will actively promote Nanoverse and Project PXN to their followers, and if they're like pretty popular, then it's just gonna keep extending. And if that phantom, right, can recruit more people and that person recruits another person, it's kind of like a partnership where the person recruits more people and that person recruits more people, and then it just like, it's this ever-granding ecosystem where instead of the company having to push out the message, they have all these basically operatives and the agents that will actually help you do the work, and in return, they get rewarded in some way. So if you see this guy, let's say like Phantom00, right, VZ, he's online, it's this guy. So if you go onto his Twitter page, you see the same exact guy, right? And so he's gonna be Phantom00, if Nanoverse Project PXN. So he actively supports everything that Nanoverse does, and he's also the co-founder of NFT Keys as well. And I'm sure he's like really deeply affiliated with all these projects, right? He's just the first one, right? And if obviously he's a co-founder of one of their projects, then he's gonna be very active, but then there's gonna be like supposedly like 100 of these guys. And that's a really interesting concept where you formalize, basically your active brand ambassadors, and like, it's like a cool way to do it, right? And another quick update on Phantom Network, they have been dropping some of the teasers for their upcoming PFP project, and this is supposedly a floor piece. So, the art is pretty good. It's kind of like that Valorant, League of Legends kind of style, like like anime, but like it looks like a painting in a sense, right? I'm not sure what you call it. I mean, I think it's smart how they use the background as like something that's neon, because we've seen like with Muri, when things are too dark, it's kind of like hard to see what it is. And again, Muri did that because they purposely made it dark to create a certain aesthetic. But again, it's like, if it's not easy to recognize and see, then it's like people are gonna forget it, right? It's very smart they did it in this way, but we'll see how it turns out. And just a random thing, Karafuru is doing a collaboration with Project PXN. I'm not sure if this is gonna be an actual official one, but it looks pretty good. They're giving whitelist giveaways, and they kind of use the Karafuru thing, and they put the little ball there. So right after this video, I'm gonna go on an airplane and go to Jakarta for the Karafuru Carnival. But very interesting, right? And just a quick note, like if you look at Karafuru, for example, and I have Karafuru, so I'm a little biased, you know, what's really smart about what they're doing, especially their marketing team, whoever's in charge of it, is that they're collaborating with everybody. They create a custom piece with Project PXN. They're collaborating with Hypebeast, obviously. We talked about it before. They're doing collaboration with Dreadfuls. They really like understand this game of collaborations and like cross-promoting audiences. That just makes me bullish on Karafuru in general, because it's like they have a certain style that is easy to collaborate with other people, and people are willing to do it, especially in the NFT space. So very bullish on that. And when I'm at the Carnival, maybe I'll take some pictures, maybe I'll do a vlog, I'm not sure. But if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments if you want to see a vlog of what the Carnival is like. Now we're gonna quickly talk about the Littles, and Littles actually had this recent announcement where they're collaborating with this company Casetify, and they're gonna be allowing you to put your NFT onto your phone case. So very interesting that they're entering like the physical space, especially because we've seen the Littles do like merchandise that like kind of has that streetwear kind of vibe, and they're kind of changing their image to fit those kind of types of products. And we also see that the Littles is collaborating with Time Studios, and they are going to make a children's-based television show based on the Littles NFT. It's really interesting that the Littles is going for that IP play where, you know, they have the audience, they have the attention, and then they just have to take that IP and put it into different things, similar to like Spider-Man. That's an IP that goes into a movie, it goes into merchandise, it can go to a TV show. And I see that they're trying to do something similar with the Littles, where they have the Littles, which is a brand that adults like, but it's for kids. And let's do clothing. Let's do clothing for your kids. Let's do a phone case. Let's do a TV show, right? So it's interesting to see how these projects are evolving so fast, because the Littles has only been out for, I think, about 4 months. You know, they're getting a lot done if you really think about it in a short amount of time, but we'll see how the show and everything turns out. In other news, you know, there's just some recent announcement that Bored Ape Yacht Club, the creator Yuga Labs, they raised $45 million in funding at a $4 billion valuation. So it's pretty crazy that the company is worth $4 billion at this point. I think I said this in the last video, but one of the largest VC companies, Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z, is the leader in the round. It's basically someone that just like kind of leads around and get other investors to invest. But you know, at this point, Yuga Labs has infinite money. They still have a bunch of ape coins that they're holding, and they are kind of locked up. It's seeming like Bored Ape Yacht Club is going to be like one of the biggest brands like in the world if they continue on this route, because they got the money, they got the resources, they got the connections, they got the fans love them, they'll buy anything they put out, whether it's land, a token, more NFTs, whatever it is. So it looks like, you know, Yuga Labs is crushing it, to be honest. And you know what's really interesting is that 6 months ago-ish, when I was like pretty new to NFTs, you know, a lot of people in certain alpha groups who are saying like, oh my God, like Bored Ape Yacht Club holders are not smart, they're all hype and this and that. And you know, obviously there's a lot of hype, a lot of manufactured hype, you know, people pulling strings, you know, behind the scenes to make all of this happen. But at the same time, you cannot deny their execution, and you cannot deny that they were able to create the perceived value of these assets, of everything they put out, as extremely valuable, right? So the lesson I personally learned from this, and I don't have anything in the Yuga Labs ecosystem, is that hype and narrative and people pulling the strings behind the scenes actually makes a pretty big difference in terms of the project's success. So if you're only looking at like what's innovative or like who has the best technology, that's not always the ones who are going to be the winners in the very end, because it's like you can have the best technology and then another project that's way better at marketing and more connected can just like copy your code and then apply whatever innovations you created into their thing, and then they're gonna blast off with their marketing, right? That's a big lesson I learned, where it's not just about technical innovation, although that is very important as well. I think it's a combination of understanding how to reach that commercial level of success, and then taking all the innovations that you see in the space, putting it together and putting it into your project. I think that's something I'm gonna be looking out for in the future. An example of that would be like CloneX, for example, right? Like when they first came out, a lot of people who are like OGs were saying like, oh my God, Artifact Studio is so greedy because they're charging 1 to 3 Ethereum for this NFT when, you know, we charge like nothing for our NFT, or 0.06 or whatever it is, right? You know, at the end of the day, like Artifact Studios pulled it off. You know, even if you bought CloneX for like 3 Ethereum, now it's worth like 15 or something like that. And then you got a bunch of airdrops and all these things along the way. Just because the price is expensive doesn't mean it's not worth it. Maybe you can be seen as greedy, but if you give more than you take, is it really greedy in the end, right? And obviously there's always risk when there's higher mints, but at the same time, it's like that money is being used for something. And if it creates more value for the holder at the end of the day, then it makes sense. Okay, now this is a random article that I recently stumbled upon as I was making this video. It's on Business Insider. Recently, it was just launched, published a couple days ago. It said, I paid $100 for this cartoon pig on the largest online marketplace for digital tokens. Now I don't know what to do with it. So obviously it's more for people who are not as familiar with NFTs, which is like 99% of the world, and it's like this ugly pig. I shouldn't call it ugly, but like I wouldn't say it's like the best art. But essentially the article goes to show like how difficult it is to buy NFT going on Coinbase, MetaMask, and all these things. And it's really interesting because they put this on Business Insider, right? So at the end of the article, it's just a conclusion of like, okay, like I bought this pig, but now I'm just waiting for it to explode like Bored Ape Yacht Club. But obviously when you look at this pig, no offense to this pig, but it's not Bored Ape Yacht Club. And I went on their website and it's not really that good either. That said, like it just kind of shows how early we are to NFTs. Yes, we're in a bear market. Yes, like things are minting out, but at the same time, it's like a lot of people are building in the space. There's like billions of dollars still going into NFTs that, you know, investors are putting in to create assets and create companies in it. So overall, I'm still bullish on the space. And just like the fact that Business Insider would put something like this out, it kind of shows that the public narrative of like, most people don't even understand what an NFT is. They still think it's just like a picture of a sleeping monkey or a bored monkey, right? But really, if you're watching this video and you kind of have been collecting NFTs over time, you know that we are actually super early. And especially like during a bear market, yes, it's not as easy to make money. It's not like you can just mint something and then just sell it for 3 times the amount in like an hour later, like how it was like, you know, half a year ago or whatever. But there's still ways to make money. You just have to find different ways to do it, like investing in long-term projects or blue chip projects, getting it undervalued, or like getting into like play to earn mechanic where it earns you like some kind of passive yield. Strategies will always change like day to day, but there's always a way. And I think like for anyone who bought these kind of NFTs, like for example, this pig, you know, and you're like, oh my God, my investment's down by 5 times, you know, understand that like, yeah, that happens, especially if you're a beginner. I feel like even if you get burned, stick around. Doesn't mean you have to keep investing huge sums of money, but like stick around, educate yourself, because you know, the time will come where there's another NFT bull happens and people gain interest. And again, like most people don't even know how to use MetaMask in the world, right? There's a long way to go. So I really do encourage you to stick around, stay educated, watch the channel, if anything, if that's easy for you. But yeah, we're here for you. So if you want to be more active in the community, make sure to join my Discord. I'm going to be dropping an NFT sometime soon, and follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.